camera at the moment, but I wanted to come and vent. I guess that's the best word for it. I have cement in my shoe. Um, but just to let you know, for those of you that are watching this on Facebook, this is not truly live. This is live on YouTube, and I'm just going to send the recording over to Facebook just because Facebook Live, they delete them after 30 days. And that's a bit frustrating. So I will be sharing this live on YouTube, but Facebook will be a recording of this. So sorry for those of you on Facebook. And hello, thank you for joining me. Let It Go is here. I'm getting some people joining, so very glad for that. Thank you. It's always nice knowing that I'm not just talking to myself, even though I do that a lot. But I'm feeling hot now. Let me take the coat off. I'm a bit out of breath because I've been cleaning up all the cement pieces from the ground. Yeah. Today I hit that moment where I was seeing red. I haven't gotten mad at like just the absurdities I keep finding with the cabin until today. Today I was pissed, and I Jeremy was on the river, so I couldn't talk to him, so I didn't have anyone to vent to. So when the video comes out, there's quite the rant. But just as a recap, I thought just this wall and at this corner where it would mess up me doing a piece connecting, I thought I was just getting it ready for putting new chinking in it. So I've been removing all the cement. Then I got to this corner right here, and I started noticing that this wall right here kind of leans in to that room. So it's been separating, but apparently there's two different layers of cement on here. There was older cement, and then I guess someone came back at some point and re-cemented. So the re-cementing in the corner was filling in gaps that where the logs meet on the corners, they're supposed to sit flush. There is not supposed to be a gap between the logs. That's what keeps it locked into place. That's how you know it's secure. And so they just filled in the gap instead of fixing the problem. And then there was more gap by the time, of course, I've gotten to it. So these logs, my theory is because they're the exact same length of the section in the kitchen where like the plumbing is underneath the bathroom. There's log missing in that room. There's just one section of wall that there's not any logs. And this is the exact same length right here of that section. So with a smidge, but this goes into this room barely. That's on the other side of that wall. So I think this and a couple of the pieces are new. Like let's see, this one right here that's like the top sections on each side of the window. Those are, no, sorry, the section above, the long piece right here. That's actually sawmill. That is not hand cut, and it's not old wood. And then there's a section down here that you can barely see. Oop, it's so hard when it's reversed. This layer right here, underneath the window, it's also sawmill. But the rest of it is old log. But like, I guess it's maybe this piece right here and a piece down here have notches out of them like they do for floor. So I think this piece and that piece were floored that sat next to each other. But that's a whole nother thing. So this is not made to go connected to the rest of the log cabin. This right next to me is the living room. Let me check these comments real quick. Hello, keep your chin up. Yeah, I've already figured out how to fix it. I had to just kind of, think through the best method. So I think I have a game plan of how to fix it. But when I first realized what's going on here, which I'll go into more detail in a second. Oh, so mad. I just don't get why this cabinet was put together this way. There's no forethought whatsoever. So this section right here, there's an itty bitty 2x4, standard 2x4, not sawmill like the rest of it. So I think this was maybe an afterthought. I don't know. That is what's holding up the entire wall, minus like that beam, that one, and that one are nailed into place with one nail. But that nail is going into the sides of this cabin. So what you can't see at the moment, just because of the angle, and I'm sorry, my phone's charging, so this is the angle you get. The grooves that sit on top of each other, we have what's called the half dovetail. So the top half angles and the bottom is flat on the pieces, if that makes sense. Like, so they lock together like Lincoln logs, and then they can't come apart. Well, they're coming apart because of they nailed these pieces to the ends. Not this long board here where it would make sense, it wouldn't be able to pull it, but they nailed it to the face that aligns with these pieces. So as the wall is pulling out, it is disconnecting the corners from each other. So it is making the wall inside at the stairs, like as you start to go up the stairs next to Fiona's room, it's making that wall come out and not be connected to this side right here. This is when you walk in and you go around and you see the two doors, and then you start walking up the stairs. When you start walking up the stairs, this is the corner that you see. This corner right here is that corner at the stairs. This wall does not actually meet up to the wall that runs the rest of the cabin. So because the two pieces that were butting up to each other, the two different layers, are nailed together, and it's not nailed in coming from this direction, they're just all pulling out. So I have to go through, and some of these pieces, right, this one and I think that one are not nailed into place. I'm going to try to remove them somewhat or wiggle them out. And granted, these are really freaking heavy logs. I'm going to have Jeremy around for this because they're, 150 pounds ish or more just for these little sections. I'm going to have to take long screws and screw the corners back together to make everything meet with a screw. And then that should make everything draw back together. I just, you're surprised it hasn't fallen down. I'm with you. I thought I was going to this morning remove the last of the chinking. I just had that top row that's just barely up there. And like, I can kind of show you guys up top here, these pieces. I thought that was the only thing I had left to clean up. And then all the chinking would be out of the front where you walk through and half of the porch. And then this afternoon, I was supposed to spend getting everything ready for a window on that wall that was falling in. Yeah, plans got ruined. So because I have, as soon as the kids got off the bus at 3:30, I have to zoom down to a different city. Fiona is taking tumbling starting this week. Well, she did one class last week, but this is the first full week of it. And we have to be there at 4 o'clock. School bus comes anytime between 3:30 and 3:45, and it is a 20-minute drive to the gymnastics or the cheerleading place. It's one of those fancy cheerleading places that I can't afford. So she's only taking tumbling because we can't afford the actual cheerleading part because they're hardcore there. I mean, like, these are when you see those cheer shows, this is that caliber. But we want her to start being able to tumble for her cheerleading that she does up in our county. So we go to a different county to be able to get these lessons. But, so I don't have time to do the video I thought I had planned. I couldn't talk to Jeremy, for those of you that are just joining us. So when I first noticed this, everything in me wanted to be able to talk to someone. I was like, okay, I have to go live because I started venting to the camera about how pissed I was. And it's a very long rant. And I decided to cut the video short. So I thought this video was going to be all just chinking, so removing it and putting it back up. Well, now that I have it removed, I have to fix the window um, on the side porch that everything started falling in. I have to fix this wall because I can't start chinking until all this gets put back into place. And then I realized when I was underneath the cabin trying to, fix the hole in the floor, that a beam needed to be put in on one quarter of the living room because we were getting a dip, and every time Jeremy walks through, it's like an earthquake because he stomps like an old man, and so that part needed to be shored up, and there's a dip, and the ceiling, the beams that run in the ceiling, we need to push back up level and then run what they call a summer beam that goes sideways compared to them to keep them from sagging so the upstairs floor doesn't have a dip to it. And that process of pushing them up and straightening them takes a minimum of 2 weeks, if not a month, to push them up gradually to get them straight again without cracking them. Because those beams come out right here, I can't chink the top layer until those are set into their place. So it's like a one thing after another kind of snowball effect of I can't do this till I do that, till I do this, till I do this. And I'm dying right now. Let's see, I'm seeing some comments come in. No, he doesn't stop like a mad little kid. He just is unaware of how heavy his walk is. In our old house, our cat was actually scared. We had the one that lived underneath the bed. For 12 years, this cat hid under the bed. All Jeremy ever saw was a lightning streak. But our old house, we had no insulation in the walls. Everything creaked, and it was just poor construction. So we move into the RV, and that cat struts around like he owns the place. Loves on Jeremy every single night that he's home. He just completely different cat. So, and it's because the RV doesn't have that give and that shake. And if you hear I'm snotty, I've been outside in the cold. It is warming up today, but it's, cold being outside constantly. Yeah. So the neighbor told me that I was like a little 80-year-old man, an old man, that decided to redo the cabin by himself. That's what she had been told by her grandmother who owned the property before her. Her grandmother built or had the house moved to that land, I think she said 1978. And this house was redone in 81, or at least it was finished by that point. So 80, 81. And he wanted to do it by himself. It shows. If I hadn't done the math and realized that, he would be, even if he was old man and he was 60 years old, he'd be 100 and something now. So I bet he's no longer with us. So I'm okay feeling evil thoughts towards him. Even though people say don't speak ill of the dead, but yeah. Let's see. Oh, I was told I'm freaking amazing. I don't feel amazing today. I feel like I want to throw a hissy fit like a little toddler. Like I've had 2 breaking point moments mentally. One was Christmas Eve where I was up in the bathroom, open concept room, looking at all the studs in the wall with some face each other like an A, some lean the other way. There's not a straight stud to that wall. They lean in every direction known to man. It's like a whole 3D effect of studs in the wall. I had a moment where I was looking around the room going, there's nothing level to this room. And my grandmother used to call it her gift. that she used to say she could see a 16th of an inch off. And if you knew my prim and proper little grandmother, my Southern belle of a grandmother, um, like she meant it. She was an art teacher. She, um, back when newspapers used to have women's clothing drawn out, that's what she used to do at one point. She was just one of those remarkable women that could do anything. So I'd like to think I'm like her a little, but I cannot draw nearly as well as her. But she really could tell if a picture was off, a picture frame, and it would annoy the piss out of her. And I was up in that room having a moment going, okay, I know I kind of inherited that gift. My mother had it a bit too, where she could tell when things were level, but she didn't care to fix them, if that makes sense. But yeah, so I have a really good eye for level. Uh, Everything is straight when drunk. Yeah, I don't even drink really. I might have a drink occasionally, but I'm spastic in the way of I cannot be out of control. That's part of my ness. We all have our issues. Mine is being in control. Um, whether it be the situation or just mentally. Um, but yeah, so standing in that room, seeing the floor for the most part ish was level, going around the top of the kitchen, like where the floors meet, looking at everything. It's just everything from there up. I'm telling you, everything is off. The rafters, you name it. So Christmas Eve, I had a good 5 minutes where I'm going, what the hell am I doing? I have lost my freaking mind. I like no sane person would do this. Um, and then I realized I came from my mother, and there's no way I'm sane anyways. So this fits. And luckily, I have a supportive husband who likes his own quirkiness of weird things to do. So, it's just today just topped it off. The old guy probably leaned too. He must have, but the problem is he didn't lean consistently. Like when pets get the head tilt, they constantly lean to the specific side. This man had just. But let's see. Yeah, it's going to take more time to fix it than I expected for sure. Um, I I'm going mad in the RV. I'll say that much. The goal is to get it bare minimum livable, something that the child services won't come after us, and just get in here, and then fix up things as we go, which I know makes things take longer, but for the sanity of the whole family, we all need our own space. We all need out of the RV. Uh, I just I need more space. Oh, there's a squirrel behind me. I can hear it in the leaves. Scout is outside in her fenced in area too, so she'll scream every once in a while. Oh wait, it may have been close to level back then. Well, no, see that's the thing is some of the pieces go opposite of each other or lean opposite direction. Like when they were framed together, you can tell they weren't even put straight. And then there's places where, like the middle room upstairs, it'll be the master. He cut the boards too short, and he stacked 3 boards in a row to extend it long enough. And then on the other side, it was still an inch off on all the boards. So he just used like 5 nails on each side going in, and you can see all the nails coming through the gap to fix it instead of putting the right size, which I'm going to have to do. Because once I realized that there were 3 pieces joined together to extend out, and they were sagging because he didn't even do that part right. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to redo the beams in that room. The rafters. It's not really the rafters. It was the pieces that he used to attach the drywall to. So they're not even structurally significant, but helping me kind of do a walkthrough of things on his end because he does air conditioning. He's basically a handyman. That's part of where I get watching things from or doing these type of things because his house was a 1 bedroom on stilts that he made into this gorgeous house. And like when I moved out when I was 17, I moved in with them. Um, I spent a lot of time in that house when I was 23 to 24. My godmother had already passed away at that point a couple years before, and I moved back in there as a needing a place to go. And so, like, I've lived in the house several times. He built this gorgeous wraparound grand staircase for my godmother because it was her dream to have like the Gone with the Wind type staircase in her house. Um, so yeah, so he was here walking through going, okay, you need to do this type of air conditioning here, and we can do this here. Like, walking through with the air conditioning part and the water part we were talking about with redoing the plumbing in here. And yeah, so he looks up and he sees the crazy rafters going on, and he just goes, well, oh, hold on. Motorcycle. um, if they would have just pushed, because they had dropped the ceiling down some, if they would have just pushed it up to where the start of the roof was, it would have been the right size. They just needed to raise it up like 3 inches, and everything would have fit perfectly. So yeah, so they're not structurally needed, but I'm still going to pop them up a little higher for aesthetics. And of course, replace the wood because it's just cheap crap wood. I want open concept roofing, but I want pretty beams in there. So that's what that'll be one day. Let's see what people are saying real quick. Truck camper for more space. That is Adam's room now. So when Adam comes, he hangs out with us in the living room till it's time for bed, and then he walks through the dark to the truck camper, and that's where he sleeps. Let's see. Maybe he needed shelter fast. I don't know. I just know he didn't. He didn't like future generations. Sorry, I'm trying to read back through everything. Just keep swimming. Yeah. See, that's the thing is I keep telling myself it's not hard fixes. It's just time consuming. What time frame am I looking to get in? I had pushed it back to, I'm hoping by my birthday in August. That might be nice. Remodeling normally takes double amount of time and money. The money part, definitely, because I didn't think I was going to have to strip everything so much. Like, I knew the moldy drywall was going to have to go and all, but I didn't realize all the plumbing coming into the house, all the electrical needs to be replaced over time. Luckily, most of that runs either under the cabin or an easy places to get to, just because log cabin, you can't hide in the logs. I'm just reading back through everything. I'm going to see how many times they can say today. So yeah, I realized everything. I vented on camera, and then I decided, so Tuesdays, we always go to the same breakfast place. They do breakfast and lunch. I had my breakfast there at 7 o'clock this morning. Well, almost. I had to wait just a little bit because I was taking the trash down as I was leaving, and I guess some guy was looking at my little contraption. We have 2 trash cans, and I have Velcro straps and cording that I stick out the back of my car, and I attach them to, so I can just drag the trash cans all the way down the driveway. If you've ever had to take a trash can on a hill, on a gravel, and it's long, That is very exhausting. And I didn't feel like doing it. Of course, coming back up the hill is way worse, but going down, I decided to take the trash down that way. And I guess I distracted someone, and someone was going to turn into the neighborhood that's across the street from us. And so, like, the third car back ends up hitting the second car. Uh, Second car was a big truck, and he had a trailer hitch. I don't think his bumper was messed up. They pulled over into the neighbor's yard. I was going to go start to walk to make sure everyone was okay. And then they got back in their car after talking to each other and left. So I guess the only damage was to the car that did the hitting. And I could definitely tell because even in the dark, I could see the pieces of his car in the road. And yeah, that's the second accident in 2 days in front of the house. Yesterday, someone got a blown tire again. People keep hitting the edge of the cement where the white line is. Half the white line is gone, and it's a big dip in the cement or in the grass because people run off right there all the time. I know I've talked about it before, us having to fix tires on little old ladies and lady with a baby in her car. And so, yeah, another person yesterday afternoon hit that same spot, got a busted tire, sat and fixed it. Luckily, it was like a 22-ish, early 20s looking guy. I was like, that's all you, dude. Um, First builder was an amateur, no idea what he was doing. Uh, Needed a basement. Well, log cabins don't typically go in basements, but we are on the edge of one of the biggest marble deposits in the country. Um, Yay, here comes another motorcycle. Um, uh-huh, yeah. Oh, he's turning to go into the neighborhood across the street, I think. But we have Georgia red clay, and then we have bedrock. Um, so this property, depending on where you dig, can be very hard to dig. Down at the road where the creek is on solid rock. There's no washing away of the creek because it's just rock. Um, I want to go gold mine it, like gold pan, because there's all these crevices, and we are also on the edge of the gold belt that runs through Georgia. Dahlonega is just under an hour drive from here, but it's only that way because you have to go on all these crazy windy roads. Sorry, I'm so congested sitting out here. I think things are starting to bloom, and I was dusting too, on top of it being chilly. But yeah, yeah. So this helped me calm down a bit, just being able to ramble. Um, so you'll be seeing a video. I will finish that window tomorrow. Wait, what is today? Yeah. Tomorrow I'll be able to finish putting the frame back in and figuring out what size window I even need to buy for the side porch area that was falling in. And then when I'm done with that, the video of removing all the chinking and the crap that took, because I've been doing it since, oh goodness, the day stopped. I had finished doing the closet where I fell through. That afternoon was my first time removing some of the chinking. So it has taken that long and little bits because it hurts your hands having to chisel it out. These areas were such big gaps right here that the cement, even though it was loose and wiggly, it made an H in between the gaps. So I had to chip out the cement, and I was having to do that by hand so I don't damage the wood. I can't just take one of the, um, I forgot, the jackhammer little bits to be able to do that because I didn't want to damage the wood at all. Oh, sorry. Oh, struggling with word count. Yeah, I get that. Um, Sorry, reading. Yeah, stop traffic at 7 a.m. That's basically what happened. Um, and of course, the breakfast place that I go into, every single morning that they are open for breakfast, the police department is in there for the city of Jasper. Like, I guess the assistant sheriff, or I don't know the names of them, but the second down from the sheriff, and then a whole bunch of minions go in there. And then there's a rotation of sheriffs too that go through there, like the sheriff's department, that have breakfast with them. So it's the city of Jasper police, and then the sheriffs will also come in. But this morning was only the sheriffs, and I was like, or the city of Jasper, and I was like, so I'm not in your area, am I? And I verified, no, I'm just barely on the cutoff of like city limits. Um, and they're like, no. And I told them about the two different accidents. They're like, yeah, that's a bad area. Um, and then they started talking about how the state patrol likes to sit across at that neighborhood entrance. It's like, yeah, they do. They do. Still does nothing for the amount of accidents. But so yeah, I had breakfast there, and then I deserved it. I saw on their menu for today, their special was chicken pot pie, which I love their chicken pot pie. It's all poofy on top. They do a puff pastry. So I went in and I had that, and I was still feeling bummed. So I did food therapy. They had a chocolate marble cake that was like this tall. It was so good. I didn't eat all of it. I got a to-go box of it, and then sat in the car immediately and ate part of it, and then the rest is waiting for doing mom duties, which start not too long from now. Uh,
Sure, I understand.
the watch. She's so sensitive. But to sum it up, this wall is wonky. It is nailed in the wrong place and pulling the entire wall on the inside of this section of the cabin right here off of these boards that you see. So it is making everything fall in to what will be Fiona's room. And I did discover the bottom half of this window is just a piece of wood on the other side of this wood. I guess maybe someone broke in at one point, or they had a breakage for some reason and they filled it in with wood before everything was boarded up. So to be able to fix what's going on, I have to remove this window too. And oh, by the way, it's not framed, just like the other window. The window is literally just set into cement. Try not to get mad. So if I wanted to, because a lot of this cement is loose, even though some of this is the newer cement, even though you can kind of see like this is a darker gray, lighter gray, so you can see the difference. Yeah, this window isn't nailed into place, or that I can tell. It's just cemented into the logs, and the logs are not framed. There's nothing holding them up at the window but the window itself. I just don't get it. I watch so many of these log cabin shows, and they always talk about the types of support and how to reinforce everything, how to do everything. And this guy had no clue, apparently. He just saw a log cabin and was like, let's add on to it. It kills me. It really does. But I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to make sure the pieces can't move in the future. I think those are 6-inch bolts that I got to be able to fix the other window. But I'm going to need, looking at it, 8-inch bolts. Do you know how expensive bolts are now? Let me show you. Hold on. All right. I know I was going to have to do both the windows, so I bought enough to be able to do it. So I had to buy individually a few of these, and then one of the boxes of them. This box, okay, they're 4-inch that I bought. I bought some 6-inch and some 4-inch. The 6-inch are $2.50 a piece. And then this was $25 for 45 screws. I can't imagine what an 8-inch, because let's see. Yeah, these beams are probably 5 inches. Of course, you couldn't see what I was just doing. I was sticking this in here trying to figure out. Yeah, 5.5 inches is what that is. So I'm going to easily need 8-inch screws on basically every one of these. Let alone having to do this window too with framing up. I just want somewhere to live. I want a tub. I want to soak in a tub so bad. It was so bad last night. I was looking at the inflatable hot tubs that they have on Amazon. They're like $400. Of course, I can't justify spending that, but I was looking at the inflatable hot tubs for one person, like just the little fill up ones, and really the one person ones are the same price as like a four-person hot tub that fills up, like blows up with air. Um, I've been missing having a bath for so long. And yes, someone had told me before, well, you can just go stay in a hotel. I'm sorry. Hotel bathtubs gross me out. They never seem like they're going to be clean enough. And I'm not going to go into a hotel and scrub a tub just so I can sit in it. I got other stuff to do. So when I finally get my tub, it will be worth it. There will probably only be plumbing and that floor done in there, and my butt is going to be, there may be no chinking, getting a breeze through the cabin, but I will be in that tub as soon as there is plumbing hooked up to it. I can tell you. Okay, sorry, had to drop those. Let's see what people are saying. 6-inch bolt when ripping out 12-inch nails. So I've been wondering if I can get go to the pro side of Home Depot. Technically, this cabin is part Saving the Cabin, which is part of Far Side's production. So that's a company, right? We have an EIN number. I should be able to get the pro discount, right? Hopefully. I did do a thing though. If you can see, there's a box behind me. For those of you that have seen in previous videos, my miter saw, like the saw that is on a flat piece that you press down, that type of saw where it just presses down and up. I have been drooling over here, wait, come with me. They have this saw. Hopefully I didn't screw that up. Apparently walking through the door is like walking through a dead zone. In the cabin. Let me get you guys back on the stand. Am I back? I know there's a delay, so hopefully I'm back. I see comments. Just someone tell me, you're back. Okay, that's what I needed. I see. Thank you, let it go. So right now, if you want one of these saws, it comes with let's see if you can kind of see it in here, the craziness, the stand for it, which is like 4 feet wide. Yeah, it came for free. The box says it's $179, that stand. And the saw is normally $3.99, but right now they have it on sale for $217 with a free stand. Just saying. I couldn't not do it because I was going in there. My miter saw needed a new blade. I can't use it right now, and the blade's $32. See the girl math here? It made perfect sense. I've really been wanting that saw with some of the stuff that I need to do, having to do a 4-inch cut, then flipping over your wood and trying to line it back up and do another 4-inch cut and hoping you lined it up correctly. That's what I've been having to do to like make it through a 4x4 piece of wood. It would go through all but like the corner of the wood by an inch. It was driving me nuts, especially like when I did the porch of the RV. It's not pretty. I'm well aware because some of that wood, I was having to flip the miter saw or the wood over on the miter saw, and it didn't do well. But I have to build a new pump house. Well, not new. I think I'm going to use the old bones of the pump house that we had for the well. I've already stripped it down to where it's studs. I'm going to, the door was on the front, like when you first pull in, you could see the door. But we have since leveled out the ground there. So a door would just hit dirt because it's kind of sunken down at that spot now. So I need to move the door to the side, and that way we have better access anyways. But I'm going to use the frame and put new wood on the side, new roof. Well, sorry, I heard the squeaky brakes and I wanted to make sure it wasn't the bus. It's not. Um, yeah, I am going to reuse the roof that's there, which is a tin roof, which matches, the tin that I've been using for everything else that came off the uh, swish cabin on the property, the blacksmith cabin. Brain fart. But yeah, so it matches that. I have no idea what I'm covering the sides in yet. Part of me says to do board and batten, like part of the cabin already has, and go ahead and paint it in the color scheme I have picked out. And it can just look like a little mini house. But part of me says it needs to look like a log cabin. But at the same time, that takes some work and doing, and I don't have time for that. The board and batten look will be much quicker, or I can just slap paint on some wood. I'm at this point, just so I can worry about the cabin, I'm thinking leave it ugly. Put paint on it just so the wood doesn't expand and nothing gets damaged, so it makes it waterproof. And yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Because if you guys didn't see the part about when everything froze, we went to move the barrel before the freeze, because have these big sticky pads that go on when you have a well, you have like a little mini water tower, essentially, kind of like you see up throughout your counties to keep water pressure. We have a little version of that's about the size of a wine barrel. So I covered that before in a Jack Daniels barrel. We went to move it and realized it was falling apart. And then we started to move it and it just completely fell apart. Part of it actually fell on Jeremy's toe and we thought it broke it at one point. Luckily, it was just a good deep bone bruise. So yeah, the Jack Daniels barrel, as cute as it looked, is no more. Yeah, I hate the little house that was there, but you do what you gotta do. I can worry about that once we're in the cabin. That could be a later video of trying to make it not look so ugly. But right now, my concerns are all the different steps with trying to get into the cabin, with having to jack this piece up and move this piece and do this and do that and get everything ready so I can just get some chinking on here. I am clearing out. I would walk you over, but apparently my Wi-Fi doesn't want to let me do that. But the area that sits between the cabin and the road, I am clearing out. So if it is a tree that is not one of these gigantic monster-sized trees that we have, it is going. So basically, if it's one of the trees that's popped up in the last 5 or 6 years, it's going. Or if it's bamboo in the way, it's going. So they're like, most of them are 1 to 2 inch size trees. A couple 4-inch-ish that I am cutting down, but I'm trying to clear. We have the old logging road that runs halfway between us and the road. I'm going to stop there because it's like a big dip. And then right on the other side of that is where the blacksmith cabin is anyways. So I'm going to just stick on this side with my clearing for now and go out beside the cabin. And I'm clearing so I can have chickens. And then I realized while I was out there clearing how much sun that area gets. And if you all know my garden situation, I was battling this year. My romaine turned to mush. I wasn't getting enough sunlight. I didn't get a tomato until September. And I've been trying to plan out a garden and realize I'm just not going to get the sun there that a garden needs. But because this area of land had been cleared before and didn't have trees on it, There isn't any old growth. It is just bamboo and trees about the same size as the bamboo. So it's all going. I'm going to put the garden in front of the cabin, and I'm going to use all the trees I'm cutting down and the bamboo to make the garden beds. Ow. Cut myself. Of all things, the parchment paper, the slicer on the parchment paper thing got me. All the stuff I do here, breaking open my knuckles all the time, and parchment paper is what gives me a big old cut. So I got a flap going. But let's see. Why do they plant so much? Well, they probably planted just a little bamboo, and it takes over. Um, so for those of you that don't know, this property, our neighbors owned it for about 2 years. Ooh, I just realized I'm sliding backwards. Our neighbors owned it for about 2 years, and they only bought it because the people that had had it since 2006 were going to be selling it, and I don't think he wanted the cabin torn down. And I know that by the time he got a hold of it, it already had the mold. It already had all the stuff. So none of that's on him. Um, the people that owned it from 2006 until I guess 2020, they came up here from Florida, I was told, and would bring their horses and live in their RV on the property. So they didn't even live in the cabin. No one's lived in the cabin since 2006. But all the horse stuff is all in that area. I could tell that whole area had been cleared out. So I bet somewhere when they bought the property, they put a little bit of bamboo. And it, since they were only coming up here certain times of year, I think during the summer they came up here, is my understanding. Because, you know, it's cooler up here in the summer. um, yeah, it just, it could have been one of those little potted plants that someone gave them and they just threw it out. Bamboo is hardy and annoying. But the guy at the Homestead store, when I start getting the new shoots that come up, I'm going to take him a few of them and their root system. And he wants the annoying bamboo. He needs an area that he needs to put it. So I am going to be bringing him I can't even talk the stuff he knows. I'm going to be taking him some of the bamboo. And he is well aware that it can be a nuisance. So, yeah, the roots can hide forever. It'll be a fight forever. I'm aware. Are y'all going to fix one of the rooms and stay in the cabin? At the moment, I don't think, like, we need the bathroom. But when we do the bathroom, we need to do Fiona's room at the same time because they're connected. Oh, I just saw a hummingbird. I'm sorry. First hummingbird I've seen on the property. ADD. Look, squirrel. But so Fiona's room and the bathroom are going to get done at the same time because it's the same roofing system on that little 2 extra rooms added on. But that bathroom won't have the bathtub. It'll only have a toilet and the washing machine. Which, again, if you've heard me complain about the washing machine in the RV as a washer dryer, only holds 3 towels. I'd love to catch up on some laundry. But, so that's probably going to be the first bathroom done, since we're concentrating on the downstairs first. Jeremy has asked me to worry about the downstairs first. I can appease him. Because the whole family does want to be able to come into the cabin and hang out. So they want the living room ready. The kitchen's usable, minus the fact that there isn't running water. So we will do running water to the kitchen and to the bathroom and all that at the same time. So technically, I mean, we could have beds in the dining room and a kid could sleep on the couch and we could take Fiona's room. But I don't know how crazy we'll be at the time. We may want to do that and just rush to get into the cabin. Part of me really wants to do that. And then another part of me is like, well, Gavin's room that's getting added on will make everything dusty as we're adding on. So we probably need to do his room first. And like, so it's, I don't know. Jeremy is tasked with doing the cedar room and adding on Gavin's room. That's his little part of it. Of course, I'm helping with it, but so that's stuff that gets done when Jeremy's in town. And he is currently Jackson, Mississippi. That's where he is today. Um, he had been in Texarkana for the last few days. But it's hard to say that we could just do this room and that room and then we could move in because, again, it's like you have to do this to do that. We can't come into the living room until the floor gets jacked up, but I need to be able to fix some of the parts with the roofing of the living room. The cedar room has to get stripped so we can get to those pieces. So, like, literally, when Jeremy comes back into town, the first thing he's going to do is help me jack up the floor a little because it's something that will take like a week to do. Um, it's a pretty day here. So we are on the road that everyone takes their hot rods and motorcycles up and down so they can go through the mountains. Because for some reason, it's a 55 mile an hour where I can barely do a 20 mile an hour turn in my SUV. So they love it up here, the motorcycles, very much. But we will do the floor, get it jacked up, and then jack up the ceiling. And again, that's going to take 2 weeks to a month to get the ceiling beams back straight. So in the meantime, I'll be scrubbing all of these because this is going to take a while. We don't want this super rough texture where wood chips are coming off. We want it smoother, but we don't want to damage the... We like the hand-hewed look with the chop marks and all that. So we're not sanding that off. We're just smoothing it out some, and I have a preservative that I'm putting on here that's different than the regular wood preservative. The borax solution that I've been using to be able to get rid of the powder post beetles and their annoying wasps that like to eat them. That borax solution is not good for the outside. It does not last. Once it gets rained on, it starts going away. So I have a preservative that you do a cleaning solution, then you do the powder post treatment, and then you put this preservative on the outside. It's clear, it won't be noticeable, but it'll just keep it looking pretty. And there's so much cement everywhere. Like, just, I picked that off the front. It's all over the fronts. So there's going to be a lot of cleaning. I bought wire brushes and all sorts of different boar bristles and you name it for cleaning this up. And of course I have to fix this wall and the window to the other side. And then put a window in. Someone did mention that I should be very worried about bears. The bears are already in hibernation here. We have not actually seen a bear. Midsummer, maybe? It's been a few months. But maybe on a day like today that's hitting 60, a bear might poke its head out. They do, I guess I read it's a partial hibernation, so they're not in deep sleep like they do up north, but for the most part, they don't go out and about. So I don't have to worry about the bears, especially since it's on the side porch. They'd have to climb up 10 feet just to be able to know to go inside the window when there's nothing to attract them in there, if that makes sense. And then other people are like, what about raccoons? And, well, there's already a family of squirrels, couple families of squirrels living in the cabin. There's a possum living in the cabin. If a raccoon decides to join them, more party time, huh? Let's see. Sorry, just trying to read through everything. Oh, someone said something about goats. I'm guessing it was talking about the kudzu. I'll have to look back. Yes, people in my area use goats to get the kudzu to grow back to where it needs to be to keep it under control. If you're asking about if I'll ever have goats, probably not. I hate goats. Goats are on the same list as bunnies. Well, this is what I sound like if I'm near a bunny to start with. Uh, as a vet tech who did exotics, I have learned that I am highly, highly allergic to rabbits. Guinea pigs are next down from that, and then cats. Figures. Cat specialist. Why not be allergic to cats? But, yeah, so I grew up with goats on our horse farm that I kept my horse at, and they were jerks. So was the pig. So that puts those on the list of I could care less if I ever have them. Maybe one day. So we are going to be doing the chicken class. Fiona and I think it's mid-March, and we order our chickens then. The baby chickens have to stay indoors for 6 to 8 weeks, and they will be going in Gavin's bathroom and in the RV in the shower. Yay! Because I figure it has a glass door that you can shut, you can easily look in, it keeps them contained, and the cats can't get them that way. My 10-minute warning before the kids, so I'm going to be wrapping this up. Because like I said, I have to haul butt down to Ball Ground, Georgia, and take Fiona to her tumbling classes. Yeah, today does feel like a bad day. I just the common sense stuff on the cabin, like you shouldn't connect this piece of wood to another piece of wood that sits next to it when you have another piece, this stuff right here, coming in at a T, because it's just going to pull off of the part that comes in as the base of the T. Things that to me make perfect sense. Or like a header should actually be on top of your wood. The back door, the section where I think this wood came from that they reframed, instead of the header sitting on top supporting all the weight, it sits next to it, and of course it's sagging. That's why the sag at the in the bathroom upstairs where the tub was, those two beams sit right there. So that whole section is sagging. So we have to go in and jack them up and level out everything and redo that wall. And it's just one thing leads to another. But I said this before, this is all fixable. This is nothing. I had a friend write me last night, and she was concerned that I needed to get an engineer in here about the window that I'm fixing, that I shouldn't be the one to do it. I'm like, okay, just putting a frame in for the window is not the end of the world. Makes perfect sense how to do it in my head. But, everyone's brain works differently, and I know what I can handle and what I can't, and I think it's not that hard. It's just these pieces of wood weigh so much. Just these little sections, like between the window, so much. But, sorry, the hummingbird just keeps going around at the edge of the bamboo, and I'm so ADD. But yeah, one step at a time. I'm doing the garden in between everything. So we've had rain, and we're about to get so much more rain. And that's part of what's cutting Jeremy's trip kind of short is the whole South got flooded out. The rivers that he needs to look in are not safe. He isn't going to risk himself, which I appreciate. So there's just going to have to be another trip for the vehicles that they are finding in the rivers because it's not safe. And let's see. Oh, make sure the raccoons and possums can't get the chicken. I already got that all figured out. I got an electric fence going for a perimeter that will keep them out. And then there's a fencing around the chickens. And then inside, nowhere near where little hands can get, will be the chicken coop. So it's like a triple layer protection. So since I know that the neighbor's dog up the hill just killed the other neighbor's chickens. And I have not seen that dog since. Petey was visiting a lot and now doesn't. And I think they may have euthanized him. He was not very old. But there's a old wives' tale farmer thing that if a dog tastes blood, they'll keep killing. So I've already heard it more than once up here that, you know, a dog killed such and such animal, so it has to be put down because it'll just keep killing. Down in the city, at vet clinics, we don't believe that, but yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But I will be saying goodbye for now. The video for the window hopefully will be coming out. I mean, what's today? Hopefully I get the window done being framed up tomorrow. So that's Wednesday. Thursday or Saturday, because I work Friday, will be the video for framing that window. And then when I'm done editing that, I'll get the chinking, de-chinking video out. And yeah. Yeah, someone's saying that saying's not real, but people still say it. Yeah, it sucks. Yep, I gotta go. Thank you all for joining me today, and don't worry, I'm not giving up on the cabin. I'm just pissed. Just a little bit of forethought. So I ask, you know, of someone that was doing something 40 years ago. But all right, have a great afternoon, and I will see you guys later. Bye.